King James of Scotland was no fool. He ruled with an iron will, determined to crush corruption and restore order. But in his quest for control, he made enemies, dangerous ones. One stormy night in 1437, as wind howled around the cloisters of Perth, the king hid in a monastery for safety. But safety is an illusion when betrayal sleeps in your shadow. His enemies crept in. Noblemen, once loyal, now serpents with blades. James fled through secret passageways beneath the monastery, only to find that the exit had been blocked. He was trapped in a sewer, clawing at the stones with royal hands as assassins closed in. They stabbed him dozens of times, his cries swallowed by the filth and darkness. His queen, Joan Beaufort, survived the attack, and she did not weep. No, she sharpened her silence into steel. She knew they would come for her son, Prince James, next. So she gave him up to comfortable captivity in Stirling Castle, surrounded by guards, tutors, and spies. They said he was a king in waiting, but really, he was a pawn on a board soaked in blood. But Joan did not rest. Over the next 9 years, she hunted the conspirators. One by one, they vanished. Some were tried and torn apart. Others simply disappeared, their bones feeding the roots of Scotland's black forests. And always, the symbol of a black bull's head was left behind, a mark of revenge, of judgment. Some say it was Joan herself, who wore a black mask and dealt the killing blows. Others whisper it was her son, James II, raised with poison in his heart and vengeance in his veins. By the time he took the throne, James II had the eyes of a boy who had seen ghosts and made a few of his own. And when he ruled like a storm, swift, brutal, and merciless. They called it justice. They called it fate. But in hushed voices, they called it the Black Death, a curse born in a sewer, raised in a prison, and fed on royal blood. James II was just 6 years old when his father was murdered in a sewer tunnel, and the crown was forced upon his tiny head. They dressed him in royal robes, sat him on a throne too big for his body, and locked him away in Stirling Castle. They called it protection, but really, it was a gilded cage built by those who wanted to rule through him. He grew up surrounded by whispers, secrets, and the cold smile of nobles who had blood on their hands. His mother, Queen Joan, fought to keep power, but Scotland was a land in chaos. And while the boy king smiled for portraits, he watched. He learned, he remembered. One memory would haunt him forever, the Black Dinner. In 1440, when James was just 10, the Douglas brothers, William, the 6th Earl of Douglas, and his younger sibling, were invited to dine with the young king at Edinburgh Castle. They were boys themselves, laughing, full of pride, heirs to one of the most powerful families in Scotland. The dinner was grand. Music, meat, wine. But just as dessert was about to be served, the room fell silent. A servant entered carrying a black bull's head, a symbol of death. The feast turned into a funeral. The Douglas brothers were seized, dragged outside, and executed in the courtyard, despite the king's screams and tears. Some say James begged them to stop. Others say it was a lesson arranged by the regents to remind the boy who truly held power. But that night, something inside James II died. The child faded. The king was born. In the years that followed, James would hunt down those who manipulated him, those who fed him fear and betrayal. And when he ruled, he did so with iron and fire. They say the Black Dinner was the beginning. The boy who witnessed death at the table became the man who served vengeance cold. For more information, subscribe.